My fiancé's family took me in as their own when I lost my family in a tragic accident, but should I feel guilty for ghosting them after my fiancé left me at the altar for another man? I, 21 meters, was orphaned around 6 years ago after a horrific car accident where my whole family was tragically taken too early. At that time, I was in a 2-month relationship with my now ex-fiancé, and she supported me more than anyone else did. Her whole family took me in as one of their own, especially her father. He treated me just as he did his 2 sons, if not even better, and I loved him, and still love him, as a dad. I've been working with him for over 2 years now because he's a lawyer, and I'm studying law. Over here, you have to work in a law firm to gain experience in order to graduate, and you usually don't get paid for it. However, he pays me minimum wage, which is far more than he has too, and I love him for that. Living alone for that long, however, was lonely, even though I had a loving second family. I wanted marriage so she could move in with me, and I wouldn't have to be alone anymore. When I proposed last year, she happily accepted. We kissed, and her family was so happy for both of us. Then our supposed wedding came this past June. In front of our whole family and friends, she said no and ran outside crying. I just stood there, feeling like it was all a bad dream, but no, it was reality. She destroyed me that day. Her parents went after her while I stood there, seeing all those people whispering and staring at me. I just snapped. I went home, threw out all her stuff that was already there, and then went straight to the airport to go on our honeymoon alone. It was expensive as hell, and most of the trip was non-refundable. I had already lost a lot of money on the failed marriage. Her family kept trying to contact me over the next 2 weeks, but I deactivated all my socials. Even after I returned home, I couldn't bring myself to see any of them, so I even avoided work. I live in a small village where everyone knows everyone, and everyone talks. Ever since that day, people have painted me as some evil bastard who forced an innocent girl into marrying me, but she heroically saved herself, which is all complete nonsense. I never even raised my voice at her. Life went on, and I found another lawyer to do my internship with. While he was nowhere near as good as my ex-fiancé's dad, it wasn't terrible. Her family stopped trying to reach out to me, and people eventually stopped talking about the whole thing. It felt like life was finally moving on. Then, around 2 weeks ago, I was chilling at home alone at night, and her dad came over. Of course, I welcomed him in and offered him coffee, which he accepted. Before we could talk, he started apologizing for his daughter, saying that she got cold feet at the last second and refused to go through with the wedding. He admitted that he wasn't proud of her and wasn't happy about the whole situation. I told him it wasn't his fault and apologized for ghosting him. I explained that it was just too painful to be around him, especially since she looks so much like him, even though I still love him. He asked me whether I'd like to come back and work with him, even if it meant keeping our relationship purely professional. He said he loves me like a son and doesn't want to lose that bond. I told him I'd think about it. Am I in the wrong for how I reacted, and should I return to work with him? Any help would be appreciated. Relevant comments. Comment 1. You're not the asshole. You were hurt, and it's understandable how you reacted. You said he was the better lawyer, and you loved him like a dad. Don't let what his daughter did affect even more of your future. It sounds like he can help you build a better future, so go for it. It's a shame your ex-fiancée didn't feel like she could speak up sooner, and getting left at the altar would be horrific. I'm so sorry for all your loss. I hope you are in therapy. Best of luck, Op. Response. I wish I could afford therapy, man. I need it badly. It's too expensive, and I put almost all my money into what was supposed to be our house, the wedding, and the honeymoon. Comment 2. Your reaction was definitely warranted, and you responded in a very sensible way. You took time for yourself, got space from the situation and the people who hurt you, instead of reacting impulsively or doing something you'd regret. However, I will note that when talking about proposing to your ex-fiancé, it sounds like you proposed for all the wrong reasons. It seems like you were lonely and wanted to latch on to her family more than her. Maybe she realized that at the altar. Response. Yes, I did care about her family more than most guys would, but I still loved her more than anything. I never did anything to hurt her, or at least I think so. And yes, I wanted to get married young, but it wasn't like we just met. We'd been together for 6 years at that point, and we've known each other forever since we were classmates. She said she didn't have a problem with it, otherwise, I wouldn't have proposed. Comment 3. You responded as was to be expected. Honestly, since you said he is way better than the firm you're with now, go back and work on your life. Screw her, don't let her ruin your life anymore by working at a mediocre firm just because the best one is her dad's. Just tell him you'll come back, but you have no interest in seeing or talking to her. If they can promise that, go and get the best opportunity. Response. Thank you, you're right. She took so much away from me, I won't let her take this too. Update 1. After reading all your comments, I decided to talk to him, and I did. We went out to a local coffee shop and talked. I told him I'd love to work with him again but only under one condition, that he doesn't mention his daughter or what she's doing with her life, and that he doesn't invite me to events she'll be present at. He accepted. He said he was embarrassed and ashamed after the wedding, and that he's sad and disappointed it didn't work out between us. He understands why I don't want to hear about her. He then asked how I'm doing and where I'll be celebrating the new year. I told him I'd be celebrating alone at home, which would be the first time I've ever done that since, for the past 5 years, I always celebrated with them. He seemed sad and said he would have loved to celebrate with me as his son-in-law. I told him to say happy holidays to the whole family, except her, of course, and then we parted ways. Thanks for all the comments and love. Happy New Year to all of you. Update 2. Hey there, I wasn't expecting to make another update on this, but here we go. Earlier today, her dad asked if he could come over, and I accepted. He came over with a gift basket full of chocolate, which I appreciated. He told me he wanted to let me know that there was another guy my ex was seeing at the time, which is why she said no and left me. He said he was so ashamed and embarrassed by his daughter that he lied and claimed she got cold feet. I told him I had suspected this, and assured him it wasn't his fault. I asked him if he had heard the rumors being spread about me after the wedding in the village. He said there were also people talking about his daughter, calling her a cow for what she did. I asked if he could help stop and deny the rumors that I was abusive, and he promised he'd help. I also asked if he could compensate me for some of the money I lost on the wedding because I need serious therapy, which is really expensive here. I put almost all my money into the wedding, honeymoon, and our house. He agreed to reimburse me for half the wedding costs, which will be more than enough for me. I thanked him for that. He also mentioned that the guy his daughter left me for has already broken up with her, and she regrets leaving me for him. However, he said he understands why I wouldn't want to go back to her, and he promised it wouldn't affect my internship with him. I'll be returning to work with him next Sunday, which I'm thankful for because I hate staying home. Thanks again for all the love and support.